So where I was discussing the application in terms of incident communications on the clinical staff side, you'll notice that as I activate this role from a clinical incident communications message sender, um, there'll be this role-based access within incident communications streamlines the launching of an incident. So you can assign specific templates around your role-based access, whether that's a staffing event where you might need to request more additional staff for a particular department, or your code-based alerts where you might activate a code blue, code yellow, code silver, or, for example, a trauma activation. Within each of these forms, you'll notice that you guys will be able to set up, single selection lists or free text forms that are quick and easy for the message sender to launch these out so that you can focus on the patient that's arriving at the hospital. So the quick drop downs allow you to enter the information, and once that is complete, you can also determine whether or not you want to use this from an educational perspective and run this as a drill within your hospital. A lot of existing Everbridge clients and hospitals will leverage this to run drills in relation to an actual event. So once the user clicks next, what you'll notice, if you're familiar, an existing Everbridge client, the form that you'd be familiar with from maybe a mass notification perspective is automatically filled out. So all of those details and the consistent message that you're looking for is automatically filled out on the second page, which becomes a confirmation. So from a clinical perspective, you as a message sender would want to make sure that the room number, the ETA, and the mechanism of injury in this particular example are correct. But key to all of this within incident communications is because I'm launching a trauma activation, it's already targeting the appropriate group based on a dynamic selection. So all of this can be defined. You can also simplify the form and not allow the message sender to see the contacts or the settings, which is going to determine how quickly and how frequently you're going to reach out on Everbridge's 28 different delivery method options available to you. You guys have the customization to make this form as simple as possible so they see the message and deliver it out. There's to individually select or craft a message to send it out. Then the message sender can then send that message out, allowing them to start tracking the results of this. So if you compare this to your existing process, whether that's calling people, paging people, if you're the person responsible for that today, that's basically a call tree where you're going down the line to determine who needs to be brought in to work on this trauma activation. That is one particular example around the clinical aspects of how existing clients of Everbridges are using the clinical side of incident communications. So what I would like to do now is change my role to look at more of an IT-related role. So if you think about how you're activating, or gathering your teams to reduce your mean time to know on an outage of a particular application, whether that's your EMR or if it's an Exchange server email outage, you have the ability, if your ITSM ticketing solution is down, to have the same flexibility. But what you would have noticed is that that clinical event that could have been launched at the same time is separated out based on your role-based access. So this particular IT user now could come in to their new incident and click application outage. And again, thinking about items that you may want to share in terms of your message out to whether it's IT related, professionals who are going to be responding to this event, or if it's the actual clinical staff who are being impacted by this, you can make those decisions in the variables that are on the form. So as you're filling this out, you have the flexibility to determine what's on this form, but your help desk person who might be filling this out can quickly and easily go through the form, click on that next button, and again, that same consistent message will every time go out. So as I'm receiving this as a message recipient, whether that's an email or a phone call or a page, I'll be able to see exactly what the issue is and have that same message every single time. Key to that again, though, is if this is going to your resolvers in IT, you might call a group of people depending on what the outage is impacting within the organization. Or you could also use our rules-based solution to call an on-call schedule. So if it's impacting the Exchange server, you can target the teams that are responsible based on who's on call today at this particular time. And again, all that message sender has to do is verify at the top of the screen the message that is getting sent out, that it is an Exchange server outage. The title of that message can also include it, what the downtime is, and the ticket number that's being used to track the outage. So again, they would verify that information and send that out of the platform. So that's our clinical and IT look at the platform. The third area of this that we wanted to look at is taking a broader look at accessibility. So for example, if you're a PBX operator in the hospital, you might have access to more templates and may require more access to the platform, or maybe you're in security and your role warrants the need to have access to more templates within the platform. So as I switch my role again, you'll see that I've launched out 2 incidents today that are segregated within the roles, but maybe as a security person or a facilities person, or maybe the PBX operator, you'll now notice that I gave permission within my organization for that PBX operator potentially to launch out some of those same code alerts, that same trauma activation, or Joint Commission being on site might be a larger way for the PBX operator to launch out a notification to all employees. And you have the flexibility, again, to determine if this is a live event or not based on how our current clients are utilizing the platform. And you might have different ways where you guys look at how the Joint Commission and how you practice those things. Is it really the Joint Commission? Is it mock Joint Commission? Is it your own hospital's regulatory group that are leveraging the use of practice in determining how you guys would respond as the Joint Commission comes on site? What you might also see within this is an active shooter. So if you guys are leveraging our MN platform today, in an active shooter scenario, you want to ensure that the message can get out as quickly as possible so that all employees who could be impacted by that are readily available and they know how to respond and where to go in the event of an active shooter. So in my demo org, I might have multiple campuses, so it's impacting the main campus. I didn't switch it over. Sorry. Active shooter, I apologize for that. So where is the location of that incident? Maybe it's in the main building. And you might ask the question of how many people are actually in there. Maybe it's just one, maybe a type of weapon. The other thing that you can also do is make some of these items required. I don't have any of them required, but you might want to make sure that the location is always filled out. So you have the flexibility of forcing the user to fill out certain fields within a particular form. So as I, again, click Next, the information that I filled out is automatically put into your message template, and it's automatically sending to a particular group of individuals based on what I entered into the form. So as I go through, again, it's a confirmation. You're taking the thought process and the requirements of that message sender to ensure a quick and concise message out to your employees at the hospital, down to a couple button clicks in terms of single selection list or free text forms, and sending out that message so that you're quickly letting all your employees know about the active shooter that's potentially within your hospital. So those are 3 primary examples of how existing Everbridge clients are utilizing the platform from a clinical, a security, PBX operator, or an IT-based solution. This is how we're reducing the time it takes for hospitals to get messages out on all our delivery methods and ensuring a confirmation back to the platform as you track any of those results.
And we're there. Okay, this is Lisa Johnson coming back in again. If you do have any questions, now is a good time to ask them. You'll see the questions tab about halfway down. You can type your question in there, send it to all, and then we can see it and answer for you. We did have a couple questions come in, and the first one is, how does the scheduling system integrate into the message system?
So Everbridge has a built-in scheduling system where you can build out your on-call schedules based on whichever department. So typically IT will leverage this based on their existing on-call schedules. That would be built into our Everbridge platform. So I'll show you a quick example of what that would look like. However, you can build these out based on, daily, weekly, monthly schedules that you already have defined. And what the platform will do is, instead of just calling a set of individuals or a set of groups, this on-call schedule will be set up to call a particular primary on-call. So for my server team on-call example, you'll see that on today, 6:10, myself, Doug, Matt, Nancy are all on call. So that instead of calling a group, you would call a rule which calls our calendars. We do have the ability to build in rotation, shift sequencing, and things of that nature into the on-call scheduling.
Great. That looks pretty awesome. And then we have another question came in, which is for the implementation, like how long would it take to set this up at let's go with, say, like a mid-sized hospital?
So we have two different parts of an implementation depending on what course of action you guys want to do in terms of implementation. We have our standard onboarding, which includes 10 hours of an implementation specialist time to orient you to the platform. And then if you go with our premium implementation, it's a 3-day on-site. Common 3-day on-site is 2 days of administrative, which would include setting up the platform for all of these incident templates that I showed you today, looking at the variables that would be on there, building out the schedules if you decided to use on-call teams to target your employees. And then the third day, as you saw, I had multiple roles that I accessed. We would do the end user training for each of those roles so that they're familiar with the actual message sending out of the platform.
Great. Okay, at this time, we don't have any other questions, so we're going to wrap up. We're saving a lot of time today. We're being very succinct. Thank you so much for attending our webinar. If you have any questions after today's sessions, there's a couple of things you can do. You can contact your account rep, or if you'd like, you could also reach out to me. My email address is Lisa, Lisa, Johnson, JOHNSON, at everbridge.com, and I will make sure that your question gets answered, and then you can see from our thank you page, you can request a demo, and you can contact us through those points as well. So thank you again, everybody. Really appreciate it, and we will be talking to you all soon.